And welcome to Jets Late Night. Steve Overmyer alongside former Jets safety Erik Coleman here. We're going to get to Otis Livingston, who is with the Jets in Buffalo, but the Jets lose this one 21-12. First off, Erik, how much work do the Jets have in front of them this season?
There's a lot of work to be done for the Jets, but I think today they got a lot on film. There's a lot to work on as far as technique, mental mistakes, eyes. Those are my big takeaways from this game, and they can get those all corrected in film.
I feel like this is the year that we're going to be focusing a lot more on player development, which is why we bring you in for Jets Late Night, because you're going to be an analyst for us explaining what these defensive and some of these offensive players are going to be seeing and how to correct some of their mistakes. So let's take a closer look at the biggest three moments of the game. Despite some offensive struggles late in the third, Josh McCown actually was accurate, and he was a key factor in a touchdown drive. Even though the two-point conversion failed, the Jets were only down 14-12. But McCown made mistakes as well. He was a little aggressive. A little bit of an ill-advised throw here, one of his two interceptions he threw. I think it hurt worse because the Jets were driving into the red zone there. He was facing pressure all day. He did force some throws, including a pick that sealed the game. The Jets fall short by a final of 21-12 in the season opener.
I know from y'all's perspective, and when you look outside in, there's a narrative that you feel about this team. But when you're in it and when you're competing, you don't feel that. That's not how we approach it. And so we're disappointed, absolutely. But we plan on responding.
Obviously, you guys are going to get in the film room and check out this game. But what are your immediate assessments as far as the offense goes? What do you guys need to get better at as far as being able to put the ball in the end zone?
Moving the ball. I mean, as an offense, that's what you're supposed to do, is move the ball. We had a bunch of 3-and-outs, and we didn't do very well on third down, and when you do that, you're not going to move the ball.
It's more than just as simple as that. I mean, it does sound simple. You've got to be able to move the ball on the offensive side, but it kind of goes a little bit deeper than that on the offense, doesn't it?
It does. You know, offensively, you have to establish a run game. You have to be able to run the ball, get your offense in third and manageable situations. First downs, you have to get some surge, and it's something that you have to be almost stubborn with.
Yeah.
You have to be fully committed to running the football, and that's one of the things that disappointed me a little bit during the game. The score was close, but it seems like the Jets they let go of the run a little bit.
Okay, so they finished with just 13 carries for 38 yards, 2.5 yards per carry, puts you in a really bad down and distance, and they averaged just 5 yards per pass. You know, what's amazing is that McCown even said that the deep ball wasn't there. How were the Bills able to not only take away the run, but the deep ball? It doesn't seem like you could be able to take away both at the same time.
It's called Marcel Darius, Kyle Williams.
Is that right?
The defensive line for Buffalo did an excellent job of getting penetration. And once you can get the run stopped with 4, you can get to the quarterback with 4 rushers. That allows you that luxury of playing zone coverage on the back end, keep everything in front, and I think that's what Buffalo did today, and it makes things easy for the defensive backs.
When you can put pressure without bringing an extra man, you can keep the DBs in a zone, or you can add an extra DB as well. I think what really surprised me most about this game was this was a close game. I understand that sometimes you get away from the run when you're losing by 30 points, and of course you have to throw more. But this is a Jets team that had 2 guys with 1,000 yards from scrimmage last year, but they only came away with 13 carries in the entire game. The ground game was barely used. Who is that on?
That's on the coaches, and that's unacceptable. You have to stay committed to the run. There are several times as a defender where you'll go into a game and you'll give up 150 yards rushing. And if you go to the breakdown, maybe 3 of those runs were for 80 yards. And, you know, it's something that offense has to be committed to. You have to run the ball consistently. And all it takes is one tackle, one missed tackle for the things that spring through, and it opens up a gamut of options for your offense.
The playbook is wide open if you can get that run game going. All right, so let's bring in the third member of our Jets late night team, Otis Livingston, in the locker room with the Jets offensive lineman, Brian Winters, earlier today.
Obviously not the start that you guys wanted to this season, but it is the first game. Is that the message after this, you know, in the locker room after the game?
Yeah, we just got to continue to move. It wasn't a message. We know what we got to work on, what we got to do. That's a long road, and we just got to continue to grind.
What are those things that you have to work on that you feel like that that you can sustain drives, that you can put the ball into the end zone?
It's everything. Everyone's, you know, it takes all 11 of us. You know, we all got to do our assignment, and if we all do our assignment, things will get moving.
Seemed like you guys were bouncing back, though. You're resilient. How much confidence do you have in Josh McCown that he's going to be able to lead this team?
Yeah, absolutely. He's a great guy, great leader, knows the offense real well, and I believe in him, and I'm going to follow him.
Is it as simple as working together? I mean, because you had some late additions. You got Curse in here late. You have a tight end that came in late. I mean, is it that simple? Just continue to get reps in practice and then take it out on the field?
Yeah, obviously, you got to work on your craft. Everything you do in practice is going to help you out in the field. Yeah, we got new pieces, but, they came in, did a great job. And like I said, we just got to move forward.
All right, so they had 11 series and only 11 first downs the entire game. The one thing that I picked up on that in that interview was he said that we need everybody to come together. All right, so how does a team find their leaders? How do you make this team kind of galvanize around one another?
Well, that's the great thing about the team. Leaders don't have to. You don't have to be a veteran to be a leader. You don't have to be an all-star to be a leader. You can lead by example. You can, when you go through adversity. I remember there were times at halftime where maybe in the secondary we gave up some big plays. Where at halftime I came in and I said, defensive line, we're going to do our jobs. We're going to stop these big plays. We're going to buy you an extra second to get to that quarterback. We need you to get home. And that's a way for me to challenge my secondary without calling anyone out and to give that defensive line some extra motivation to get to the quarterback.
And at the same time, that D-line knows that we're on the same team here.
Exactly.
These guys are going to put a little extra effort into it to make my job a little easier, too.
Yeah, they can pin their ears back. They have trust in your teammates. And that's one thing that you have to build by going through all these games is you have to get trust for one another.
All right, Jets Late Night is coming back. We're going to take a closer look at the defense. And don't forget, join the show on social media by using the hashtag MyJetStory to give us your reactions, and you can appear on TV just like this Jets fan.
Just got back from the Jets-Bills game, still in the parking lot. What can I say? Bad performance all the way around. Jets got a lot of work to do, but we'll see what happens in the coming weeks.
With pre-collision system, lane departure alert, and more, Toyota Safety Sense is an advanced suite of active safety technology, now standard at no extra cost on 15 Toyota models. Tested, trusted, Toyota. Lease a new 2017 Corolla for just $139 a month, or get 0% APR for 72 months on a new Corolla. Toyota, let's go places.
Prepare ship for light speed. No, light speed is too slow. Light speed too slow? Yes, we're gonna have to go right to ludicrous speed. Everybody now!
Get internet starting at $24.99 a month for 1 year guaranteed.
Been trying to prepare for this day. I'm still not ready. The reason I'm telling you this is that there will be moments in your life that you'll never be ready for. Your little girl getting married being one of them.
We count on them every day to connect, to perform, to share. And when they need to be replaced, folks count on Mavis Discount Tire to get low prices on the largest selection of tires. Because you never know when the money you save on tires can turn into a game-changing memory. Mavis Discount Tire, saving people money for over 50 years.
CBS 2 News at 5 and 11. Expect more.
Maurice Claiborne there just expressing exactly what went wrong with the defense. They put pressure on Tyrod Taylor, but he evaded the rush. He extended the plays. He extended the series. And it's funny because these guys are talking about this is what they were coached up to do, was to contain the guy. Does it make it worse when you're coached to do something and it still becomes a problem.
It makes it worse when you when you go to the film room and watch the film, and the coach is telling you, listen, all week we talked about keeping this guy in the pocket, but it's hard to simulate an athletic quarterback in practice. You know, this is a guy, you're talking about a guy who throws an excellent deep ball, one of the best deep ball throwers in the NFL. You have to cover for longer, and then when he tucks the ball, it's like a third running back on the field. So it's definitely difficult to simulate, but it makes it tough when you go watch film. And this is the thing that the coaches were harping on all week.
And it's just so disheartening, too, when you have great coverage and then 5 seconds later, he decides to tuck it, and he extends the series with a 3rd and 10 a run, more or less. You know, we expected the offense to struggle, but I think what became the biggest surprise was the fact that the defense struggled. They gave up 10 plays of 10-plus yards on the first series alone. Matter of fact, that was in the first 3 series, I should say. 190 yards rushing. How would you gauge what this defense did out there?
You cannot let teams run the ball on you, no matter what your defense is. The first goals as a defense, the first goal is stop the run, eliminate big plays, and get off the field. And the Jets did none of those. They allowed Buffalo to run all over them. And now what that does, it opens up the playbook for Tyrod Taylor. Now you have to overcommit to the run. Now you're trying to do too much, trying to be a hero, and you get out of your run gaps. And LaShawn McCoy is a player, he's going to test the integrity of your defense, because he's a guy who can cut the ball back. He's gonna run it front side. He's gonna
check your oil.
He's gonna check your oil and make sure that everything
is the
covered.
Engine running smoothly. He's gonna make sure that oil is checked.
Absolutely, he's gonna check every gauge. And it's also tough on a fast defense, because you tend to overcommit. When you see the guy running to the side, you're gonna over pursue. And when he has such great vision that he sees you over pursuing, he sees your shoulders turn, he's gonna cut it right back, as he did in the game.
And when you have a speed defense like the Jets put out there, that's what makes it even worse.
Yes, they're built for speed. They're built to play against the flow.
Right.
You know, that's why they have Jamal Adams, Marcus May, Darren Lee. These are explosive, fast players. And when you don't have gap integrity, you're going to get exposed playing LaShawn McCoy.
Well, a lot of young players, a lot of new faces out there, both on the defensive side and the offensive side. In fact, half the 53-man roster on this team is new on the defense and offensive side, including receiver Jermaine Kearse, who spoke with our Otis Livingston.
You were a late addition to the ball club. How are you catching up to speed as far as the offense goes?
It's coming along. There's still some things I can think of in my head where I just want to do a lot better, and that's just investing time in it. And I'm just going to continue to put that time in, work and effort into watching more film and getting with Josh and with the receiver so we can have better communication.
Why do you feel like the offense kind of had fits and starts throughout the game?
I mean, it's the first time this offense really, came together. And we got a lot of new faces that came in. I came in just this week. We got a tight end that just came this week. So it's going to take some time. It's the first game of the season. We got a lot of football left. We got this whole next week to get our football right, and that's what we plan to do.
But how did it feel to have a regular season game again? I mean, because you've been waiting all off season for this.
It felt good. Obviously, we wanted to get the win, but unfortunately that didn't happen. We got next week, and that's all we can look forward to.
What was the message in the locker room after the game?
That was just the first game. We got a lot of football left. We can't hang our heads on just one game. We got to keep battling, keep competing, and just work.
All right, so clearly the focus of this season is going to be on player development. Is there a new face that jumped out at you in this game?
I like that young man, Jermaine Kearse. He's a player who's battle-tested. He's played under the pressure. He's won a Super Bowl, and I love the attitude that he brought to the team today. He got here, Tuesday?
Right.
And it seemed like he and Josh McCown had an understanding. They had a great rapport, and that's only going to get better as the season extends. And he's also going to teach these young players all the nuances of how to become an excellent receiver.
That's what a professional does, and we will certainly see growth, hopefully, in that receiving core this upcoming season. When Jets Late Night comes back, Otis Livingston has a one-on-one with a defensive leader. But first, more of the social media interaction with fans who tweeted us with reactions to the game using the hashtag MyJetStory.
The bad things about today in the Jets game were they were running better than us, and they had an interception way more points.
How do you feel about the season?
How do I feel about the season? I feel like that should have been a close game. Yeah, and it wasn't.
My 5-alarm chili makes game days better. You may not know it, but FanDuel does too. For new players, there are beginner-only contests with real prizes to help you learn the ropes. And since you pick a new team every week, you're never sidelined with injuries or draft busts. Play for as little as $1 or compete for a share of $1 million. Or start a private contest to play against your friends. FanDuel, it's the $5 chiller your daily fantasy game's been waiting for.
Get free entry into the Sunday Million with over $1 million in cash prizes when you make your first deposit. Use promo code BROADWAY.
New York City, electric, alive, with a pulse that's unmistakable. You can feel it on every train, at every turnstile, underground, over water, in the classrooms, offices, and bridges. And behind every beat of New York's massive heart, a municipal worker is busy doing something essential. They serve, they protect. They are the heart of New York City. And this is where they bank.
My name is Craig Dawson. Our business is called Retail Lockbox. We're a payment processing company. Our goals are to help our customers come from a paper-based environment and move to an electronic environment.
How would you describe your business?
Our business is competitive.
Of all the words you use to describe your business, small isn't one of them. No matter the size of your workforce, MetLife can help you find the right employee benefits for your business and your budget. Talk to your broker to get started or learn more at metlife.com/mybusiness.
The CBS2 Weather Team. Expect more.
All right, welcome back to Jets Late Night. I'm Otis Livingston, joined now by one-time and present Jets linebacker Demario Davis. And Demario, obviously not the way you guys wanted to start in Week 1. Can you assess the way the defense played today?
I thought there was some things, that we can do better. Just got to come in and work. Some good things, obviously some things we'll work on. We got to work on. Got to go watch the tape and see.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like there was enough energy out there, enough exuberance? Here we are, first game of the season, a division foe on the road in the Buffalo Bills?
Yeah, I think it was enough excitement. Probably better execution. You got to give them credit. Mm-hmm. They came out and did some things extremely well. They ran the football well. The quarterback played good. He was efficient in the pocket, was able to get to the ball to his receivers. You got to give them credit. We just got to find a way to do things better.
How tough is that, though, when they have both pass and the run going and the quarterback is such a threat?
In this game, it's tough. Each and every week is going to be tough. The quarterbacks get better and better. The running backs get tougher and tougher. And so it really just comes down to execution football. Which side of the ball is going to execute.
Obviously, this is Week 1. You have 15 more games to go. But how quickly do you turn the page and then turn your focus to Oakland?
I think it's just important to correct the mistakes, find a way to get, the mistakes that were made corrected, and get ready for the next one.
As far as the locker room after the game, what was the message as you guys turn that page going to Oakland?
It's the NFL. It's Week 1.
Mm-hmm.
It's a long season ahead. Get ready for the next one.
Did it feel good to be out there, though? I mean, you wait all season for this opening day. Obviously, like we said before, that the outcome was not what you wanted, but you're back out there playing regular season football.
Oh, man, football season is back.
And for you, you're in a Jets uniform again.
Yeah, football season is back, back in the Jets. Great moment, today being out there on that field. Super excited. Had a lot of fun out there. Unfortunately, we didn't get that win. Just got to get ready for the next one.
All right, thanks a lot, Demario Davis. Okay, all right, Demario. We have more Jets Late Night coming up after the break.
Modell's heard you, and we've extended our biggest sale ever now through this Sunday, September 10th. Buy any pair of footwear and get the second pair 50% off. 30% off all Nike backpacks and 20% off all Adidas backpacks. Visit Models.com to find the Modell store nearest to you.
To showcase the impressive Infiniti QX50, we could have imagined it on a winding mountain pass, or somewhere even more cliche, like a downtown street. But what distinguishes the Infiniti QX50 isn't where you can take it, it's how you feel taking it there. With generous cargo space, extended second row legroom, and coupe-like handling, the QX50 from Infiniti. Lease the all-wheel drive Infiniti QX50 for $299 a month. Visit your tri-state Infiniti retailer.
Modell's heard you, and we've extended our biggest sale ever now through this Sunday, September 10th. Buy any pair of footwear and get the second pair 50% off, 30% off all Nike backpacks, and 20% off all Adidas backpacks. Visit Models.com to find the Modell store nearest to you.
Watch every newscast, no matter where you are. CBS 2 News is streaming live.
And welcome back to Jets Late Night. Steve Overmyer alongside Erik Coleman. Erik, it's time to dive into your brain. I hope you're okay with us trying to get between your ears here, because as a former player, as an analyst, you're going to be monitoring all the player development this year. And I feel like one of the things that has been a problem for the Jets over the past few years is their defense against tight ends. Last year, the Jets gave up 10 touchdowns to tight ends and nearly 1,000 yards. It's an area of vulnerability they clearly tried to correct with the two safeties in the first 2 rounds. So let's take a look at this one play. Charles Clay had a 35-yard catch. I want to show you what happened here, and you can kind of take us through this. It's a play action, and Clay finds himself open for 35 yards. 33 is there, but what happened on this play? What went wrong?
Well, the Jets are in a cover 3, meaning a 3 deep, 4 underneath coverage. Now, Jamal Adams has the curl flat. He's supposed to be reading number 2, but his eyes are in the backfield since the Bills have had success running the ball. So now that number 2 is vertical, he has to get underneath this corner route with depth, and he has to play it high to low. He has his eyes in the backfield. He's late getting depth. You have Charles Clay running up the sideline for a 35-yard gain.
The number 2 is the tight end in Clay, and here it is once again.
And you see he's not even looking at him. He's looking in the backfield.
Well, he's got to maintain responsibility of McCoy coming across and the possibility of Taylor coming out.
But that's why you have a run-pass read. You read the uncovered lineman who stood straight up, and then you see your vertical threat. Number 2 is that he's your immediate threat. If he goes to the flat right now, you cover him. If he goes vertical right now, you have to work underneath this 7 route. Because as you see, Demario Davis is running for the inside. If he breaks on the inside route, that's his responsibility. He's a young player. This will be corrected, and he will not make this mistake again, I believe, because he's so passionate about the game.
I mean, the margin for error for a defensive back to be able to cover the flat short, and you've got to cover deep third on a post route, it's really difficult. The Jets did give up 75 yards and a touchdown to tight ends, and that was Charles Clay.
He's a good one.
There's also a Rob Gronkowski and a Julius Thomas on the schedule a couple of times against the Jets this year. But when we come back, we're going to ask you about the mentality of the players. All right, so stick around. You're watching Jets Late Night.
Need help calling the right play on game day? Call me at the Gruden Hotline. Gruden Hotline.
Coach, I'm decorating for game day.
Decorating what, with like streamers?
And balloons.
Really?
Yeah, like I said, I'm decorating.
It's a game, not an office party. You got Coronas, you're good. Trust me.
Streamers and balloons.
All right, then.
Find your beats this game day. Call the Gruden Hotline, and you could win the opportunity to hang out and talk football with Coach Gruden.
CBS 2 News at 5 and 11. Expect more.
All right, there's been a lot of talk about the Jets this offseason. Not too many good things, but we've talked about this before. This season is clearly important to the players and the coaches because this is their legacy. You know, this is the record that is going to go on their tombstone at some point in their lives. So why is this season so important to this Jets roster itself?
Well, you know, I mean, we don't like to say it, but they're in a rebuilding situation where they're trying to figure out the future of this Jets team. So you need to show progress. Now, it's one thing to go out and just get beat by another team because they're better than you. But what the Jets cannot do is beat themselves. And that's eliminating mental mistakes, eliminating missed tackles, all just mental errors that you can continue to grow from, and I think they will. They're a young team. They're going to continue to get better.
Is that the one thing that you have to kind of key on in a year like this when the team is so young? It's just taking steps in the right direction and maybe some of the things that you can control?
Yeah, absolutely. You have to worry about what you can control, and what you can control is your attitude as a player. You can control the effort that you go about your task, and you can control the knowledge of the game, playing the situations correctly, knowing what to read, looking at the right things, playing the right techniques, playing as a unit. Those are all things that you want to see the Jets improve on. And as I mentioned, there's going to be times when the guys are just better than you. You know, they get paid too. You know, we used to always say that a guy makes a great catch, he's getting paid to play this game, but you can't beat yourself. And you never give yourself a chance if you do that.
Real quick, next up is a trip out west to Oakland. How difficult of a chore is that going to be?
It's going to be tough because every team is going to test what you got beat on the last week. And what did they just get beat on? Running the football. And they got a pretty good running back in Oakland by the name of Marshawn Lynch, who I believe they're going to run the ball with. They also have some great receivers on the outside. So the Jets defense is really going to have to learn from this film, hurry up and apply it to the game plan and go out there and play well.
Well, we'll see what happens next week, but we will trust on your insights and your analysis in next week's Jets Late Night Show. Erik Coleman, thanks so much, man.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for watching Jets Late Night. For Erik Coleman and Otis Livingston, I'm Steve Overmyer. Take care.